Hi everybody, welcome to the Walker's Guide and welcome to day 27 of 30 Days of Wild. Now I'm back out in the beautiful Weald Country Park and I've gone for a stroll because, well, it's cooling down a little bit and I need to get some steps in. I've been sat in front of a computer most of the day and I want to get some energy out. And I thought, let's have a walk. And then I thought, what are we going to see? Well, this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while and I've not seen any suitable, but this one is. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fungi. This is a beautiful old, very old dryad saddle. Now this is a type of tree or type of fungi. This is a beautiful dryad saddle fungi, and yet it's the fruiting body. This is an older one, so it's not like a fresh and new, but they're a beautiful plant. And actually really clever and really exciting. I love seeing fungi, be it dryad saddles, purple paw bracket, or birch polypore. But why are fungi just so exciting? Well, fungi that we see, like the birch polypore on this dead birch behind me, are not the exciting bit, or at least not the fruiting body. Now they've all got uses, or lots of them have. For example, the birch polypore, for example, you can actually cut sections off the bottom to turn into plasters, or use it to inscribe stuff. The horsehoof fungus can be used for fire lighting and fire carrying. King Alfred cakes, Didonides concentrica, can be used as a spark extender. You get a spark on it and glow, and it's like a piece of charcoal. They're useful, and to some people they're tasty. Not me, never been into eating mushrooms. However, what they do in a woodland is the interesting part. So let's talk about the bits of a tree. Trust me, I've got somewhere we're going. Right at the top of this conifer, for example, we have the green bits. They're called leaves, or actually in this case they're needles to a conifer. Then coming down we have the trunk, and at the bottom we have the roots, and it's where that root is that becomes interesting, because amongst those roots are mycelium. Mycelium is kind of the always living part of the fungi. It's effectively a fibrous mass of material. They're like long stringy strings. Yeah, I'm really doing well with words there. Hi sheep. That connect across the forest floor. The largest living organism on earth is a fungi, and it's huge. I'll put the diameter of it up here, but it's massive. But what happens is the tree roots connect via the mycelium to effectively talk. It's sometimes known as the wood wide web, and information effectively can be passed through it. Now I'm not talking like data information, but potentially if it's raining or if a tree's been attacked, it might put out pheromone through its roots that gets picked up by the mycelium that gets carried across. Things like that. It's not a talking method, but it's a communication method. But it's amazing. And to think that that network, we don't even see it. And all we see every now and again, after a time of humidity or some rain or the cooling off of the year, is we'll see a mushroom pop up. That mushroom is only the fruiting body. It's a flower, effectively. Now mushrooms put out spores, and they put out billions. And years ago, and I don't know how true it is, but years ago when I was reading a book, Boy's Guide to Everything or something like that, it said if all the spores from one giant puffball were to hit on the ground and mature into a giant puffball, the entire world from that one giant puffball would effectively become a giant puffball. because they put out so many spores. Now most of them hit completely unusable spaces, but those that don't sort of germinate or spread, because it's not really germination because they're not technically seeds, and become more fungi. Now what else do they do? Well, their big job, I guess, is decay. And actually we fight against fungi a lot of the time because we don't want things decaying. But that's how most of the trees, when they die, will disappear. Fungi will get involved and they'll break down the cellulose of the tree until, rather than having a stack of logs, you have soil. And we can see it here that the fungi has started. There's the fruiting body on the end, and it started to degrade these timbers. And it won't happen overnight, it takes time. And here, these little fruiting bodies on this piece of hornbeam, weakening its cell structure to the point of, in a year or so, it'll be nothing but dust. Now, to me, that's amazing. Now, okay, some fungi are bad, like the ones that we get on our body. And yeah, anyone who's had athlete's foot, that's a fungi. You know what I'm talking about. But the fact is, in the woodland, they are so important. So next time you're out for a walk and you see a cool looking mushroom, don't think that's a cool looking mushroom. Think, what's down below? What is making that mushroom look like that? Why is that cool, bright red, bright yellow thing so beautiful, but why is it there? One thing I am going to say, and I'm going to say it clearly right now, do not pick and eat any mushroom in the wild. If you don't know exactly what it is, what you think is one thing can easily be another, and it can cause you a heck of a lot of trouble.